Thanks for joining us here at Functional Bliss, where Audra and Jessica will guide you through exercises and wellness techniques to help you live your best life every day. It's in the name, after all, Functional Bliss. Before you do anything else, click like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll know whenever we put up a new video. To join our Blissful Gang for live Zoom classes where you can get more direct suggestions and encouragement, go to our website and sign up. Check the class description below for any equipment needs, grab your gear, and let's get started.
So for the first minute of our work, we're going to do our hula hoop hips, but we're going to put hands on the hips. So make your little Lego hand and then kind of put that little squeeze on your hips, and then keep that squeeze and just start turning your hips in circles, circle them. And what with that little bit of squeeze, we want just that feeling of almost like a massaging action, right? So you want to kind of squeeze in and then you rotate. So you're pinning a little bit of the skin and the muscle tissue, and then you're circling your hips. And then just kind of tune in and notice, how's your back feeling? How do your hips feel? What's your energy level like this morning? Hey, Linda, good morning, Linda. Linda, we need our toe bands this morning and we need our hand weights this morning. All right, when you're ready, reverse directions, go the other way. Keep that squeeze on. So we want to feel the muscles moving. You could shift your hand position a little bit if you just want to feel a different place where movement is happening, but we still want to keep that squeeze like we're letting the hips move and massage the muscles. We got 15 seconds left. All right, that's time. All right, release your hands, give your hands a little twinkle, give your wrists a little shake, step your feet slightly closer, and then we're gonna go for some side bends, but we're gonna try to keep our hands connected to the sides of our thighs, and we're gonna dip over like we're trying to touch the side of our knee, and then take it over to the other side. So first 10 seconds of work, that's all you gotta do. Reach for the side of your knee. Go at a nice, slow, even pace. It doesn't have to be super fast, but now we're going to take it a little bit further. Now you're going to reach like you're reaching for the back of your knee or your knee pit. So there's a little bit of a reach back, and then you can turn your head also and look towards the place where you're trying to reach. All right, now we're going to bring it back up and in. Hands are going to touch the shoulders, and now you're going to draw like you're taking your rib cage and you're taking it in a big, gigantic circle. So you're going to let your rib cage circle around. We're going about 15 seconds in one direction. Take your time. Notice how your back and your rib cage feels. So if you hit any depth of work that starts to feel a little cracky or a little bit too stiff, slow it down, make it smaller. All right, when you're ready, reverse directions, go the other way. Notice your back in the other direction. There might be little subtle changes that happen. All right, take one more circle around, and now we're going to go super slow motion. So it's going to be a front kick, but you're going to pick up your knee, you're going to flex your foot, you're going to push the foot forward, bring it back in, set it down. So we pick up the knee to about hip height, flex the foot, push the foot forward, bring it back in, and then we're going to add just a little bit of a handhold. So I always think of this as like Sound of Music, right? Where they hold their fingers in front of their heart space and there's a little bit of a tug. So go for your Sound of Music grab, but pull apart just a little bit. Unless you have sharp nails, then be mindful about how much you tug, but keep a little bit of a pull between your fingers and then go into that front kick, but nice and slow. So we want to lift the knee, good control, push the foot forward, good control, bring it back in, and then release it down. We've got 1 minute on the clock, but go slow motion. Keep that tug. Now, if you get here and your balance is way off, keep it small and low. But if everything's feeling good, pick it up as high as you can to approximately hip height. And then as you get as high as you can with good control, notice how the backs of your legs feel. So we have some higher front kicks later, but you may already be at the height that your body wants you to go to. 20 seconds left. Nice and slow. Keep that good slow control. You've got it. Nice. You guys look amazing. Nice job. Last 6 seconds here. And just in the world of front kicks in the sense of self-defense or martial arts, you want to pull your toes back. So if you accidentally have to kick somebody, you're going to do it so that you don't hurt your own toes. Okay, set your legs down, give everything a good shake and a wiggle. And now we're going to grab our hand weights. It is going to be a half calf raise with a bicep curl. So you're going to go half calf raise, bicep curl, lower down. And then at the bottom, you'll flip your palms and go for a front shoulder raise. So you're going to pick the hand weights that make the most sense for the work that you're doing here. So it's going to be a bicep curl with a half calf raise and then palms flip down, front shoulder raise. So pick the weights that work good for you. We got 1 minute on the clock. Half calf raise, bicep curl, lower down, front shoulder raise, lower it down. Nice job. Twenty seconds left. Sometimes it's a little bit of a brain game to go for a full bicep curl, but just a half calf raise. So you do have to pay attention to those two separate parts of the body at the same time. All right, that's time. Take a second, lower your arms, give them a good little shakeout, but we're gonna stick with some hand weights. We're gonna take it into a squat with a tricep kickback. So you're gonna chamber up at the shoulders, sink into your squat, tricep kickback, bring it back in, rise back up, and that's the work. We've got 1 minute on the clock. You'll take the work at your pace, and the squat will be at your depth. So keep a bent elbow position to sink into your squat position, kick back, bring it in, rise back up, but keep that bent elbow position. Nice job. Fifteen seconds left. And time. Beautiful job. Okay, now we're going to pick up the pace and get our heart rate up just a little bit. So you'll choose your adventure whether you want to hold on to hand weights here because it's just the switch of the foot. So we're just doing that switch. So we want that nice quickness of step. We want that springiness in our feet and our ankles. But if a switch is not for you this morning, then it's going to be like toe taps in front of you, but pick up the pace just a little bit so you get a little bit of movement in the ankle and a little bit of movement in the toe and the ball of the foot. But if you got a little spring in your step this morning, now if you want to add on, grab your hand weights and you'll do those jogging, pumping arms, but only add on the bit that feels good. And then as you do this work here, you may notice right away you started to breathe in and out through your mouth just a little bit. Or are you still breathing strong through your nostrils? 20 seconds left. You got this. 10 more seconds, but we're not going to stop the work that we're doing. So once the timer goes, you'll see me switch to move the timer, but we're going to take it right into a jogging forward and back. Okay, here we go. Jog it forward, jog it backwards. Find a bit of control in that backwards jogging. You'll see me stop for a minute, but you're going to keep going. Keep your heart rate up. Jog it forward, jog it back, your pace. So make sure that you're going at a pace and a depth of work that makes good sense to your body this morning. Notice how you feel. If jogging is not for you this morning, then you're just going to focus on the backwards and you'll turn yourself around at the front end. So do the work that makes good sense. Nice job. You're already halfway there. 7 seconds left. And time. Okay, jog it back to the middle of your mat. And we're taking it into front kicks, but now we're gonna go for that higher kick with a little bit of a touch. And we're gonna stay one leg 30 seconds, the other leg for 30 seconds. So spread your stance, kick that foot and touch, step it back. We're gonna stick with that leg for 30 seconds. Now, if your leg does not kick that high, do not worry about that. We're reaching towards the foot and we're getting a big swing. So if you prefer a handhold, so you can find that big swing of the foot. If you feel like your balance is the thing that gets in the way of you getting height in your kick, go for height today. Hold on to a wall and get a little bit of range of motion. Move your thigh in your hip socket or go for that big reach and touch. 5 seconds left on this side. All right, when you're ready, switch to the other foot. Get that big staggered stance. You step it back so there's a little bit of spring to your standing leg. Reach for that touch or hold on to a wall and get some range of motion in the leg. You've got it. Nice job. Ooh, nice high kicks. And time. Nicely done. Okay, now the next bit of work is lunges, but with wrist curls. So pick the weights that are appropriate to your wrist. First 20 seconds, we're going to keep palms facing up, elbows tucked in at the side of the body. We'll step back into a lunge with a curl of the wrist. So first 20 seconds, alternate your lunges. Do your wrist curl with the palms facing up. How deep you go into that lunge, totally up to you. Think of this as a little bit of a working recovery. So we're working the big muscles and the wrists, but catch your breath. 3 seconds left and we're switching the orientation of our wrist curl. Okay, now we're gonna go palms facing in, thumbs up. So as you step back into that lunge, thumbs up, you've got it. Three more seconds. And now we're switching the orientation of our wrists again. Now go palms facing up. You might also change just slightly the bend in your elbow so you get a little bit of room to move, but we're going palms facing down, knuckles up. You've got it. 6 seconds left. And time. Nice job. Okay, now we're going to hang on to both weights, but you may choose to switch to a slightly heavier weight. We're going to stagger our stance. One hand is just going to kind of hold the weight, but out of the way. It's going to be a cross-body deadlift. So you're going to reach like you're reaching towards the pinky toe or blade edge side of your foot. So hip hinge, reach across, pull it back up. The other arm is loaded, but it's just going to stay out to the side. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take the work at your pace, and then we'll switch our foot at the 1 minute. Go for that nice flat back. And when we say flat back in the fitness world, it's not truly a flat back. There is natural curves to your spine, but we want that elongated spine and a hip hinge. So rather than rounding the body or putting the butt back and bending the knees, we keep a micro bend in the knees, go for a long spine, hip hinge, but reach across because we're doing that cross body work today. You've got it. Nice job. Ten seconds left. All right, when you're ready, switch your feet, switch your stance, and then away we go, taking it to the other side. So we're taking that cross body deadlift, reaching towards the pinky toe or the blade edge of the foot. The other foot is back just to give you a little kickstand. And we go for that hip hinge. My other hand is loaded, but I'm just holding it off like a little bit of a farmer's carry about 4 inches away from the side of my thigh. Nice work. 5 seconds left. All right, now the next 30 seconds of work, you're going to choose whether or not you want hand weights with you, because it's going to be a standing tall overhead press and then a step back to a plank. So you can take your weights with you, or you can leave the weights off. I kind of like the weights because it gives me a little something for that overhead press, and it gives me a nice little hold for my plank position. It's only 30 seconds. So if you want that little bit of challenge, take your hand weight with you, overhead press, step back to plank, step it back in, come right back up, go nice and slow. You don't need to be fast here unless you're just building up your cardiovascular endurance and you want to go full tilt. So do the work that makes the most sense to what you're working on for yourself right now. 5 seconds left. All right, now the next time you come to that planking position, stay in your plank. We're going to go shoulder tap, leg lift, and that's the work. You got 20 seconds left. Shoulder tap on each side, leg lift on each side. Ten seconds left. Nice job. And time. Beautiful. Okay, bring your knees down just for a second, but we're going to spin it around to go for a reverse tabletop position, but we're going to use our hand weights to be our little handhold. So load up your hand weights. We're just using them to give us a brace and keep our knuckles off the ground. Feet are going to step in, and then you're going to lift your butt up, go for a reverse table, squeeze your butt, lower with control. We've got 1 minute on the clock. You are going to take that work at your pace and then notice how your shoulders feel. For some of us, just lifting the butt up and lowering down is going to be quite enough ask from the shoulders. But if things feel good, lifting the butt up, give a little squeeze, lower with control. Do the work that makes the most sense to your body. Nice job. If that's not quite enough work for you, as you come down into that seat, you'll add a little overhead press and then come back to that reverse table. Nice. 20 seconds left. Last 10 seconds. Focus on that butt squeeze right at the top. Squeeze those cheeks together and then release. You've got it. And time. Nicely done. Okay, it's going to be 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other, but it's going to be the bottom half of our Turkish get up. So bend your left knee, load up your left hand, come down onto your back, left hand up to the sky, right hand out nice wide. You're going to look to that hand weight up in the air, come up to that sit-up position, lower back down. We've got 30 seconds of work, but keep your eyes on the weight in your hand the whole entire time if you can. Yes, nice job. Five seconds left on this side. All right, when you're ready, the next time you come down to the bottom, switch your hand, switch your foot. Left arm is nice and wide now. We look to that right hand, lift up into that sit-up position, lower with control. Keep your eyes on that hand weight the whole time. We got 30 seconds of work. Do it at your pace. And time. Nice job. Okay, lower all the way down. Now we're going to go right leg 1 minute, left leg the other minute. We're going to come down onto our back, bend your left leg. Now, as you start to do the work, you may find that you want to extend your left leg nice and long, and that's totally fine. Once you find that comfortable position, so you want your back to feel good, You want to feel like the work is coming from that front pocket area, front hip flexor psoas muscle. So we're reaching the toe down to the end of the mat, kicking it up towards the sky, but we got 1 full minute on this leg. So do the work at a pace that feels reasonable and stay in good control. Put a little energy down to that toe. As the foot reaches to the end of the mat, it hovers and it doesn't rest, but you have options to rest it if that feels like the better way to go for your body this morning. We want to keep the toe and the knee pointing up towards the ceiling today. Sometimes we change around the orientation of our leg to get access to different muscles, but just for today, reach through the toe, toe and knee are pointing up towards the ceiling. 20 seconds left. All right, when you're ready, we're switching right to the other side. So bend that right knee, set it down, reach the left leg long, and we're moving right into those left leg raises. One side might be slightly different than the other in the regards of what you do with your right leg or how far you kick your left leg. So make sure you pay attention and honor what you're working on here. You can send the right leg long if it feels more stable or keep it bent. That's going to be totally up to you. But a little bit of point to that toe so that there's just a little bit of energy reaching all the way to the end of your limb. Nice job. You're already halfway there on this side. Ten seconds left. And time. Beautiful job. Okay, pull both knees into your chest. Give yourself a light and gentle squeeze. And then we're going to rock and roll up to a seated position. From here, we're going to grab our toe band and we're going to put it around our two big toes. So grab your toe band, get it set up. We want to make sure that it's around the two big toes, center of the two big toes best you can, so it's not too close to the tip of your toe that it's going to slip off. And then make sure all the little wiggles and wrinkles are worked out. And then once you've got your way there, we're going for that big toe spread. So we're going to spread all 10 toes or however many toes you've got. And now we're going to go for a big toe up and down. So just the big toes. Now the other small toes may try to move with the big toes, but we want left and right toe moving in opposition to each other. And then the other toes can help if they want to. We've got 1 minute on the clock. We want to sit up nice and tall best we can. If sitting up nice and tall in this L seat or staff seat position is asking a lot of the spine and you have a tendency towards rounding, come down onto your back, float your legs up to the sky, do the work here. So you'd still have that good toe spread. You're still moving just the big toes and the other toes are only helping if they move. You're already halfway there. We got 5 seconds left of just the big toe work, and then we're going to keep a good about 2 centimeter space between those two big toes, but now we're going to take it into our foot pedals. So you're going to keep that good even space between the toes, keep your toes spread, keep the big toes strong and active, but now we're pushing the entire foot, which may change your range of motion. So don't go for a big range of motion, go for good amount of control and a big toe spread. So we want to keep the toes strong. That's the work that we're focusing on here. Your ankles and your shins and your calves may be feeling some good work happening, but we want to focus on the big toe and all the other work follows. Nice job. You're already halfway there. Woo, 10 seconds left. If you're not feeling that fatigue, wow, I'm proud of you because I'm feeling it. All right, we got 3 seconds left. You got this. You can do anything for 3 seconds. And time. Nicely done. Okay, relax everything for a second. Give your toes a little twinkle. Now ask yourself, do you want to keep the toe band around your toes, or do you want to take it between your thumbs or kick it off altogether? But we're moving into our roll-ups. So if you want just that little extra something, you can keep that good toe spread. You can keep that engagement between the toes. Work on your roll down. Arms up and overhead. Exhale, we curl up the head, neck, and chest, reach past the toes, and we keep the toe band there the whole time. If you want a little work for your thumbs, you'll take that toe band between your 2 thumbs and keep a good spread between the thumbs and a good spread between the fingers, and then do your roll up from there. So choose the variation you like best. If you put it around your toes, your hands are free, so maybe you could grab some hand weights if you want just a little bit of extra work here in your roll up. So do the work that feels good. Now, as you roll up and reach past those toes, for some of us, a big, gigantic bend of the knees is the way to go. So you don't want to feel like you're zinging up into your butt with that hamstring glute connection. You want to make sure that you get a good reach without hurting the back of your body. You're already halfway there. 10 seconds left. And time. All right, now next up, if you want to, you can still keep that toe band around, but we're coming up to a V-sit position. Now we are going to grab our hand weight. So if it was around your thumb, go ahead and kick it off. We're going to lean back into our V-sit. We're going to do that little shoulder raise, so bent elbow out to the side, chest press from that position, come back in, lower the elbows down. So we're going to stay in that leaned back position. So our core muscles are kicked on the whole time. And then away we go. Lift the elbows, press out from the chest, and bring it back in. This is our last minute of work, so do it at the pace that feels the best to you at this point, which could include leaving the weights off altogether or kicking that toe band off your toes if that feels like you've had just enough for your feet. So find the depth of work here that you're into at this last minute. You guys look so strong. Nice job. 20 seconds left. And time. Nicely done. Okay, if you had that toe band around your toes this whole time, kick it off, give your toes a good twinkle and a wiggle, set your hand weights down, put everything off to the side, and then once you've got your gear just a little bit moved out of your way, we're going to keep one leg long, step the other leg in, but step it slightly wide, and then we're going to rotate towards that leg. So you're going to bend the knee and then rotate towards it, get a little bit of a hug, get into a little twisted position, and then take 3 nice deep breaths. Awesome. And then unwind your rotation. Bring that bent knee so that the foot comes to the inner thigh and the knee drops out. And then we're going to reach towards the extended leg. But as you reach towards that extended leg, bend your knee, reach towards the foot. It does not matter if you can touch the foot. We want to feel maybe a little stretch in the low back, maybe a bit of stretch in the back of the leg. All right, when you're ready, come up and out of that fold, and we're going to switch all of that to the other side. So other leg goes long, bend it in, but step it slightly wide, and then rotate towards that knee so you get a little bit of a hug. All right, unwind that rotation, bring the foot to the inner thigh, let the knee drop out, micro bend your leg that's extended, go up and overhead and then reach towards the foot. Does not matter if you can touch the foot. All right, and then when you're ready, we're walking it into a butterfly position. So both soles of the feet together, knees out to the left and to the right. And then once you got your way there, we're going big flaps of the knees to start. So find a good space, like your heels might be closer to your inner thighs and groin, or they might be a little further away. Find the space where your knees kind of flap in a gentle way and there's not too much ouchie in the inner thigh and groin area. And then once you feel like you've got that good space where there's a good flap that you can get into, now let that flapping come to stillness, hip hinge, lean yourself forward, and just to a point where either you feel sensation in the outer edge of your hip, deep in your hip, or inner thigh and groin. So once you hit a point where you feel some sensation, that's where you're going to stop and take 3 nice big breaths. All right, come up nice and slow and controlled. And then you can keep your feet in butterfly position or crisscross applesauce, any way that you can sit up just a little bit and sit in a tall position. And then we're going to drop one ear over to one shoulder just to get a little stretch in the side of the neck. All right, now add a little micro nod of the head up and down. One more little micro nod up and down, and then take it over to the other side. Drop your ear to your shoulder, pause there. And then if it feels good, add that micro nod of the head up and down. So one side might feel different from the other. So you make sure that you just do the work on the one side that feels right. All right, one more nod of the head up and down, and then we're going to tuck chin to chest. But as we tuck our chin towards our chest, we're going to try to keep the shoulders down and back, and just your chin is tucking to the chest. So that's going to look slightly different on everybody because our range of motion in the cervical spine is going to look a little bit different. So shoulders down and back, tucking the chin down. One more big, gigantic breath. All right, now lift your chin up, 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 up towards the sky. So now you want to feel a little stretch in the front of the neck and the throat, but not too much. So it should feel like a stretching sensation, but you should be able to breathe comfortably. And if you needed to, you could swallow. All right, and then when you're ready, release your chin back to a neutral position. We're going to find our way up to a forward fold position in standing. So you flip your way up in any way that makes good sense to you. Lift your butt up towards the sky. Keep your knees as bent as you like to, so the backs of your legs feel good about what you're doing here. And then once you found that folded position, just if you can, grab hold of your elbows and just let your back, your spine, and your head just get a little bit heavier. One more breath. And then release your hold of your elbows, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in, take your time as you roll your way up to standing, and then take a couple of good shrugs of your shoulders. You guys are amazing. Grab your big stability ball if you're sticking around. Grab your ball, and then we are going to start in seated with one single hand weight, and then you may choose to go for 2 or go for 1 single heavy. So we're going to first find the range of motion, and then you'll add the hand weights as appropriate. So we're going to start with a good wide positioning of our feet, and we're going to start to find these in my yoga speak, we would go Cossack lunges, but we're going to go in this big range from side to side. So you're going to just start to find the movement here. How do you position yourself on the ball so you can move freely? Because the height of our balls might be slightly varied. So you might have the ball directly under your butt. I'm slightly to the front edge of my ball so that I get a little bit of extra wiggle room. So find your range of motion, find the depth of your footing. And then once you feel like you can freely move from side to side and that feels pretty good, now grab a hand weight or 2. So you can go single heavy, double heavy, single light, no weights at all, totally up to you, but just holding that weight in our center, still keeping that range of motion. Let your knees move, let your ankles move, let your hips move. And then sticking with the hand weight, assuming that it feels good. As you bend one knee, you're going to rotate towards the bent knee, come back to center, over to the other side, rotate towards the bend, come to center, and then over to the other side. And then you can start to smooth that out, find a good transition, but we want to stay in good control. So we don't want to lose our control for speed. And then if you like a little bit of breath work, exhale as you twist towards that front knee. All right, now we're going to add on again. So as we come through center, we're going to do a little bicep curl, take it over to the other side, twist, come through center, a little bicep curl, over to the other side and twist, and then smooth that out, find a good transition and a breath connection that makes sense to you this morning. All right, one more time each side. I'm adding bicep curls like everywhere. One more time each side, and then bring it back to center. But now walk your feet in just a little bit closer so that they're in a good stable position. And then we're going to go for that close grip bicep curl. So if you had double weights, put one down, turn your single weight sideways, assuming you can get a good handhold, and then take it into a bicep curl. But your elbows now will be slightly to the midline of your body. And then once you've got that going on, take about 8 more here if you can stand it. Nice. One more up and down, and then we're going to add on. So you're going to arrange your feet so that we're in a good position. And then we're going to go for like a bicep curl, but bend down, touch the ground, bring it to the chest, and an overhead press. So still keeping that narrow grip. As we bend down to touch the ground, we do want to keep a hip hinge. So rather than trying to round the body and touch to the ground, we want to go heart forward, touch the ground, and then come into that overhead press. So you've got it. Go for about 3 more if you can. And then on this last one, we're going to stick with that overhead hold. So if you were holding onto 2 weights, now definitely want to put one down. We're going to keep a little bit of that sideways hold, and now we're going to circle our ribs. So similar motion that we did earlier in our warm up. Keep your arms up and overhead, and then draw circles. Think rib cage, or draw circles on the ceiling with your hand weight, but it's the rib cage and the upper torso that's moving. Position your legs so you're as stable as you can, but there's going to be a little bit of movement underneath you. So let that movement happen, but we want to feel like this part of the body is where most of the work is generating from. Legs are just helping keep us stable in position. All right, if you were going in one particular direction this whole time, reverse, go the other way. Notice if you have any catch points or sticky points as you reverse directions. There's no right or wrong, but we just like to notice those things. And by we, I mean me, and I hope that you do too, because I talk about these weird things a lot. All right, take about 3 more circles around. Nice. And then slowly, gently, mindfully release your weight down. Take a second, shrug out your shoulders, set your weight down off to the side. We're going to stick with this wide position, but now we're going to bring an elbow to the knee. We're going to lift the ribs away from the thigh. So we're going to keep that side body lifted. Top hand is going to reach up and overhead. Get a little bit of a side bend. One more breath, but now we're going to take that upper hand. It's going to touch to the back of the head. You're going to keep the ribs lifted away from the thigh. You're going to lift that bottom hand, but no position will change except for the hand. And then use the strength in the side body. Come up to center. Nice. Now the other elbow is going to come down to the knee. We lift those ribs up and away. Top hand reaches up. Hang out here. We're taking a stretch. So come back to your breath. Beautiful. Now take that top hand, touch it to the back of your head. Lift that bottom hand up to meet. Use your side body, come up. And now we're going to go from side to side. So go elbow to knee, but push your head into your hands and your hands into your head to create a good, strong structure through the back of your body. So it's not like we're rounding towards the knee. We're using our side body muscles to stay in good control. And if you like that breath connection, you'll exhale as you reach the knee elbow towards the knee, and inhale as you come back through center. Lovely. Take one more time each side. And then as we come up through center, the hands are going to find the knees or the inner thighs. And we're going to go for some light twisting. So you're going to think twisting with the upper body or shoulder to knee. And then again, if you like that breath connection, you'll inhale as you come through center and exhale as you add that little twist. And then if it feels really good, if you like that little bit of twisting motion, you can add on just a little bit. So you can step your feet slightly wider and then push out into your knee as you work into your twist. But only if that part feels good. So we don't want to push so far that we yank against the inner thigh or add too much stress to the groin. Beautiful. Take one more twist in each way. And then when you're ready, come through center, toe heel your feet in so they're about hip width distance apart, and we're going to take it into a bounce. But what we want to achieve here for the first portion of the bounce at least is place your hands on the tops of your thighs, and it should feel like the top front of your thighs is muscle is contracted. So even if you have a little bit of thick adipose tissue, you should still be able to feel a little bit of firmness underneath it. So put your hands on your thighs. Even if it helps you find it, close your eyes down, assuming you feel stable on your ball. We do want to just feel that little sense of muscle contraction. And now we're going to keep that muscle contraction, but we're going to try to add a butt squeeze. So your bounce might get just a little bit higher, and you're going to try to squeeze your butt as if your thighs are pushing you off, and then you're trying to get that extra bit of squeeze right at the height of your bounce. All right, now we're going to let go of all the other work, and we're going to go for a nice, good, hearty bounce. If you have any osteo stuff and your PT or your doctor says bouncing is a no-no, then you're going to keep it in the lightest format that you can think of. But if bouncing is good and your doctor says or your PT says, yep, bounce your little heart out, because you want to keep those bones with a little bit of impact and keep your lymphatic fluid bouncing with you. So get about 5 to 10 more good bounces here. Nice job. And then once you've done about 5 to 10 good, nice bounces, let everything come to stillness. And then just for a moment, notice your body, notice your breath. Cool. And then we're going to take a light twist. So just twist to one side. Doesn't matter which. We're going to do both. All right. Release that twist. Take it over to the other side. Release that twist. Now we're going to walk the feet forward, but feet are going to be about hip shoulder distance apart. So not as wide as they can possibly be, but just slightly wide for a good stability. And then we're going to think hip hinge. So lift the belly, lift the chest, hip hinge forward, maybe reach toward your toes or the ground in front of you. That's just whatever handhold works good. Once you've got a fold that you can manage and you feel stable in, then soften the back of your body. So you're going to sink into that fold just a little bit more. Let your head soften down. So maybe your gaze is down at the ball in front of you. One more breath. All right, and then come out of that fold nice and slow. Now we're going to switch around so that the ball is underneath our belly and we're in a kneeling position. But if you like to cushion your knees, you'll either double stack your mat or grab your towel or your blanket that you like to use to cushion your knees. And then once you've got yourself there, get that ball nice and tight up against your belly, lean yourself forward, and then we're going to start by just finding that rounding. So you're just going to get hugged over the ball as much as you can. We want to achieve a rounding through the back of the body. So we put our body in a lot of different novel positions. So it all feels good, but you never want to go to a place where you stay too long that it causes imbalances in your structure. So it's safe to take rounding through the back of the body, assuming that you don't stay there for the rest of your life. So fold yourself down, round over, soften the abdominal muscles. We want to feel like there's a little bit of a compression of the ball against your abdomen so that we can feel and sense the breath in the back of the body. So find your position and then take big, gigantic breaths into your rib cage. Take one more breath. And then we're going to come up into a tabletop position. Now, to come into table, some of us, our knees are going to hover. So we'll curl the toes under. Maybe your knees will hover. So you want to find a stable table-like position with the ball underneath you, which little positions may vary just depending on the height and space of your ball. And then once you got your way there, we're moving into a bird dog. So opposite hand, opposite leg are going to stretch out and away from each other. Come back in with a sense of control and then switch to the other side. You don't need to go fast. Go for stability. Now, keeping in mind that the ball may wobble underneath you. So when we talk stability, sometimes stable is in the position, and sometimes stability is how do you regain stability from an unstable position. So even if you get unstable, can you come back in and find your equilibrium again? Beautiful. All right, go for one more time each side or even yourself out. And then we're going to move ourselves forward. So I'm going to roll myself back just so I get a little bit more space to move. So now we want to achieve the ball being more underneath that front hip bone area. So less on the chest and belly, a little bit more further down to things, top of the thighs, front of the hips. So reposition yourself as needed, which could be as simple as crawling yourself forward a little bit. Now, once you've got yourself there, so hips are on the ball, can you come down elbows and forearms? And now we're going to go for a little bit of a piking. So we're going to try to reach the toes down towards the ground and then squeeze your butt muscles and lift the legs up. And then that's the work. We're going for a hip hinge. So the upper body is going to try to stay strong and stable. Elbows and forearms down to the ground, or a tall planking position. That's just going to be what's more stable for you. At the top of that lift, though, if you can, focus on that butt squeeze. So squeeze those cheeks. Get a little bit of work happening in those big glute muscles. All right, now the next time your legs lift, you're going to hold your legs in that lifted position. You're going to reach through your toes, and now you're just going to focus on the butt squeeze. So you're going to squeeze and release. Keep your legs lifted, squeeze and release. Go for about 8 more if you can. All right, and then when you're ready, slowly float those feet back down. Slowly walk yourself back to that rounding position. So knees on the ground, rounding through the back of the body. Now see, can you relax the low back? Can you relax your upper back? Can you let your head tuck down and take 3 more nice big breaths? Lovely. And then when you're ready, come back up. So we're going to go elbows and forearms on the ball, and we are going to stay in that kneeling position. So definitely here, if you want that cushion for your knees, take a second to set yourself up. Our hands are going to be palms facing in a little bit of a triangle shape with our elbows and forearms. So you're going to get your elbows and forearms on. There's a slight triangle base, and then we're going to firm up the belly, and you're going to try to keep the ball away, and you're going to make your upper body shoulders do most of this work, but we're going to draw the alphabet. So you're going to draw an A, lowercase or uppercase, totally up to you. Draw yourself a B, and then you're just going to work your way through the alphabet. If you go faster than me, if your handwriting and your penmanship is a quick, then you'll have to just repeat your alphabet until I'm done. But the whole entire time, we're keeping that firmness in the belly. The knees are on the ground, so it's not a huge work in the shoulders, but it's a strong, stable work. Just to give you an idea, S right now. All right, that's time. If you've finished your alphabet, awesome. If you haven't, no worries. You can go back to it later if you want to. Okay, but now we're going to flip ourselves over onto our back side. So when you're ready, come down onto your back. We're going to kick our legs up and over. So we've got a bent knee position to start. And then once you've got your way there, you're going to just pause for a moment and notice. Notice how your back feels. Notice low back, hips, butt muscles. Notice the connection points of your legs touching the ball. Take 3 nice deep breaths with as little effort as possible. All right, so tune into your back, the back of your head and the back of your shoulders. So think back of the head, shoulders, back body. Notice if you can feel a little space in your low back area. And if you can, now you might make changes as we go. So then you'll want to make sure that you position yourself where you're strongest. But to start, can you push your belly button down towards the ground and reduce the space in your low back? Once you've got the reduction of space, you're going to pause for a moment, make sure that feels good. Arms are going to come out just a little bit wider, palms facing down, and we're going to go just for little tick-tocks of the knees side to side. But the entire time, we're going to attempt to keep the low back pressing into the ground. So we're not going for big, gigantic range of motion with the knees moving from side to side, so much as that focused center, belly button pressing down towards the ground, back of the head, back of the shoulders, low back. Everything is connected to the earth. All right, take one more swish of those knees side to side. And now as you come back to center, it's going to be 1 foot step off and touch, and then switch to the other side. So now we need that control, keeping the belly firm, keeping the belly button pressing down towards the earth, arms out at your sides, shoulders are anchored down, head is anchored down. But now we get that little bit of ask from the hips to still stay stable as we touch the foot down to the ground. Now, if you get here and you're doing that work and your low back is pressing into the ground and it does not feel good, some of us may feel better to have a natural curve in our back. And some of us will actually feel better to curl up the head, neck, and the chest a little bit. So if you get there and you're doing that work and you're like, well, that doesn't make my back feel strong at all, play around with those 2-second positions, whether it's finding the natural curve of your back or coming up into that slightly crunched up position. Notice which one feels the strongest. Take 1 or 2 more times each side. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk it so that the heels are digging down into the ball and there's a little space between the back of your thighs and the ball. And then once you've got that little space, you're going to dig your heels in, lift your butt up, lower your butt, release the heels. Dig your heels in, lift your butt up, lower your butt, soften the heels. Go for about 8 more just like that. Last one here. Nice. And then bring it back in. So you're going to walk that ball in. So it's still going to be under the bend of your knees, but now you're going to bring it nice and close. So it's touching, hopefully touching the backs of your thighs and the backs of your calves. And now you're going to drive your heels into squeeze as if you're trying to crush the ball between the backs of your legs. So drive the heels and get a little squeeze. And then hopefully here, maybe you'll feel a little muscle action happening in top front of the thighs or around the kneecaps. And then release, hug the heels in, get that little squeeze like you're trying to crush the ball, and then release, and then go for about 8 more if you can. All right, last one here. And then we're going to keep a fairly neutral position, but legs are still going to be resting on the ball. But now we're going to go hands alongside the hips, going for our Pilates 100. So we're going to curl up the head, neck, and chest, hold that curled up position, and start to pump your arms. You're going to inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5. And then as you pump your arms, you might notice that the ball is going to get a little bit of bounce underneath you. Can you hug that ball in a little bit tighter, reducing as much bounce as possible? You're not going to reduce all the bounce, so don't get crazy with it, but just hug the heels in a little bit. Keep the backs of the legs tight. Keep that curled up position. Pump your arms. Inhale for a count of 5. Exhale for a count of 5. And you might have to position your arms slightly out, so I have to go a little bit wide for my arms. So go where your arms are the most comfortable. All right, one more pump through the arms. Inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5, and then let everything relax back down. Reduce as much efforting as possible so the feet are still resting on the ball, but relax your abdominal muscles, relax your arms, take a nice big breath. All right, now to finish our work, we are going to come back up to sitting on our ball to work into a little bit of a back bend position. So take your time as you come off, find your way up to a seated position, move any of the gear out of your way so that you have good space, so that you feel safe and comfortable moving. And then we're going to start with just that little walk out. So you're going to walk yourself out, find your low back, walk yourself back in, and just take a few walks forward and back just to find that spacing, the sturdiness of your feet underneath you, letting your low back touch the ball. All right, now the next time you come out and it feels good, hands are going to come behind the head and we're just going to lean back over that ball and then do a little crunch to come up. Lean back over the ball. Do a little crunch to come up. Lean back over the ball. Do a little crunch to come up. Do 2 more here just to see how this feels. Now, finding strength here might be your jam this morning, and you might not want to go for the big stretchy back bend. You might want to stick with these crunches and keep that strength and heat in your center. But if all is feeling good and you want the back bended position, the next time you arch back, release your hands from the back of your head, pause in the soft back bend and notice how you feel. And then if a big back bend is for you this morning, you're going to walk yourself just so that the palms find the ground. Walk your heels in a little bit closer to the ball, and then you'll push into your feet and into your hands like you're pushing the floor away from you and trying to lift your back away from your ball. And then once you've had just enough, soften, come back to that slightly soft back bended position, take a breath. And then take your time as you slowly come back up to an upright seated position. Once you've come to that upright seated position, we're going to soothe the back just a little bit. So take little micro cat cows. Inhale as you lift the chest, exhale as you round the body. One more little inhale, exhale, and then we're going to find our way up to standing into an assisted down dog. So hands are going to be on the ball, and we'll walk our butt back or walk your ball forward, whatever gets you into that little upside down V shape. So we're going to walk it back with our hands on the ball, make a little V shape with the body, your butt being the pointy tip of your V. And then once you've got your way there, just let everything sink. Let your chest melt down. Let your arms be slightly heavy. Let your chest be slightly heavy. No, just assuming that your ball is not in the danger zone. If you released it and it rolled away, it wouldn't do any harm. We're going to walk our hands off of the ball so that we're in a folded position. And then once you've got your hands on the ground in that folded position, bend your knees a lot, pull your abdominal muscles in slow as you can. Roll your way up to a standing position, and we're going to finish with a quick little bounce just to make sure that the back and the body feel good. So take your heels and just hop them into a little tiny bounce. Move any of that lymphatic fluid that may have just moved out of places and now needs to be redistributed in a really nice way. Maybe give your legs a little shake, maybe give your wrists a little shake, maybe give your fingers a little twinkle, maybe give your toes a little twinkle. And then once you feel like everything has been bounced and shake just enough, you are done. You guys are amazing. Nice work today.